All right, we're going to spend some time talking about game news, what's been happening around games, what's been coming out, some shit that dropped, and No Man's Sky just released today. No Man's Sky is a game by Hello Games where no one knew what the fuck the game was about because the developers were like, we ain't gonna tell you. And I kind of respect that too because they were trying to preserve the mystery and like try what gamers are supposed to uncover in their game. So I respect that, but at the same time, it's a AAA budget in terms of marketing. It's published by Sony. So they have to, hype up the game, show people what it's about so they can go out and buy it. But I felt like the devs and the publishers were a little bit in conflict about that. So no one really knew what the fuck was going on with the game. But now it's out. I played a little bit yesterday. I got on PS4 and it's aight. It's like there's no way you can understand or really experience the whole thing. I played about 3 hours, but there's much more to discover before you can even like write a review or say you have some kind of definitive answer on what it is or whether it's good or not or worth your $60. So yeah, that just came out. I know it's been delayed for a while. Any y'all got any questions for me or thoughts about No Man's Sky right now?
So yeah, what exactly is the basic concept? I watched a few streams on Twitch and it seemed to me like a video game embodiment of the movie The Martian, except there are a lot of aliens, there's some weird stuff, weird plants, some first person. It's first person though, right?
Yeah, it's first person. I wouldn't really say it's anything conceptually like The Martian, other than you're on foreign planets and stuff. But the basis of the game is you're just this person who's... The concept is supposed to be you're supposed to get to the center of the galaxy, and you just... It has a lot of survival game elements. So I'm sure, I know, JB, you played some survival games. It has like that. Like you gather resources, make sure you survive, a little bit of meter management.
Right.
With your like life support shit. And you fly. A lot of flying. A lot of landing on other planets, gathering resources so you can make it to the next planet, selling shit, and just there's monsters there. There's other races that you bump into and talk to, but you can't really talk to them yet. You have to like uncover their language. You don't really understand what they're saying, so you kind of have to guess at what they're saying. And that's kind of one cool thing is that you don't know exactly what they're saying to you, so you don't know what to do with them. And you can either piss them off or do the right thing. But so far, I feel like the things that I've done are a bit inconsequential to the game as a whole. So, I don't know. We'll see. I need to pour more time into it. I just been flying around and stuff. You got something to say, JP?
How was your experience on PS4? Like, is it well optimized for PS4 as far as like frame rate or...
Yeah, the frame rate, it's alright. The main thing, though, I have a problem with is the field of vision. I have this problem with like every console game or any game that you boot up on PC that doesn't have field of vision, FOV settings. It's like way too close, and that bugs the shit out of me. It's fine when you're in a spaceship because, like, I mean, it's vast and you're trying to like really see where you're going. But when you land on there, it's still really close to the screen. So field of vision, basically how much you can see around you. It's too zoomed in. You can't see much around you. Yeah, the FOV I think needs to be fixed. And I really hope that the PC version has a slider or some shit like that. Yeah, but I don't know. There isn't. It's not action. It's not an action-packed game, so I'm not really tripping off that. Because if it was, then FOV would be even more important. So I can like see shit around me and react. But it's cool. It's chill. One thing I think my favorite part of the game though is the fact that it feels like I'm exploring other planets. It's like atmospheric. When I'm about to land on a planet, I can like see the horizon and shit. Like, it makes me feel shit, man.
Have you discovered planets?
Yeah, that's
the kind of
the thing.
Like, have you named them?
Yeah, you can name them.
Have you named yours?
Yeah. Well, there's you can name whichever planet you discover. You can name. So I just name it like dumb shit, like Chirac.
Because
the pad.
Because there's already, and this is from what I get from gathering, from what I'm seeing online, there's already some super dumb names like Poop Land.
What do you expect? You're gonna give people the ability to name shit like,
or
man.
like Planet McPlanety.
It's not an online game, right?
You have to be online to play, but you.
Like, is there interaction between other players?
Yeah.
Anyway?
So this is kind of what was discovered a couple months leading up to the release of the game, is that it's not really a multiplayer experience, if at all. So
that kind of makes sense.
there's like in the teasers there's like 18 quintillion planets. Like, dude, that's a grip of planets. Like, ain't nobody gonna discover all that shit. Man, we're gonna be long and gone. We're gonna be dead as fuck, and there's still gonna be planets in No Man's Sky that nobody discovered. Man, my grandchildren are gonna be finding planets I had never seen before. But technically you can run into people. I'm not sure exactly how that's gonna play out, but there's like less than a 1% chance that would even happen. Unless, like, I feel like this leads into another thing. I feel like No Man's Sky is gonna have a lot of post-game content that not just adds content, but like adds features. So I think down the line there may be. This is pure speculation, but I think there might be something in the future. But you're essentially playing a single-player exploration game, survival / you know what I'm saying?
So my understanding is that there are multiplayer aspects in the sense that everybody's within the same universe.
Yeah, but you ain't gonna see none of that shit.
Can you collaborate with someone and say, hey, meet me at Planet Face or whatever?
Nah, that can't happen.
Okay.
You're restricted to your piece of the galaxy. I'm kind of wondering. I kind of didn't do much research before I went into the game because that's how I like to do things. But I'm wondering if, like, you get closer to the center of the galaxy or universe or whatever, and you might run into people along the way.
So that's your end game? Your end game is to reach the center of the universe?
That's the objective, or it's not explicitly stated either, but that's kind of the idea. But I don't know what happens after that because shit, I haven't been there. I doubt anyone else has been that far into the game. So,
yep. The developers have.
Maybe they haven't either. I don't know.
The game is being made as you play.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of true because everything is procedurally generated. So that's there's some truth to that. But anyway, let's move on from that. Well, PC version's coming out on Friday. I don't know why they delayed the release of the PC version by 3 days.
Maybe they're adding the FOV slider.
Hey, if it takes 3 days to add that shit, that's worth it. Trust.
Why'd you end up buying it for a PS4 instead of PC?
So I can talk about it on this podcast. Nah, well, I mean, this type of game, I didn't really. Well, I wanted to play it day one, but this type of game, I don't feel like there's too much of a difference between. I mean, I'm always PC first, but it's not that intense of a game like that where mouse and keyboard controls are essential. And it's not like I said, it's not action packed. So if it was action packed, then I would need my keyboard and mouse to stay on my toes and shit. But like I'm just chilling, exploring and flying the planets. So I don't trip out about it. Plus I need something to play for my PS4, man. I haven't played shit since Bloodborne. Ooh. Or The Division, but fuck Division, man.
Ooh.
All right, y'all got any more questions, thoughts?
I don't know. No Man's Sky, like, the idea of just you're going to fly around forever or for a million billion hours to find planets. While I can see the appeal of that isn't my kind of game. I just want something more than just fly around and explore. Like, it's really weird. I need set objectives in a weird way. I don't know. I just don't know if I could just have a giant space sandbox.
Then don't fucking play the game. I'll just play it.
But like the idea of a giant space sandbox, like just those words in that order.
It doesn't appeal to you.
I can see the appeal. A giant space sandbox. You can do whatever you want in space. But how long until the magic wears off? If that makes any sense.
True.
Well, are the planets randomly generated in the same sense that, say, dungeon crawlers, a lot of them are just mazes that are created on the spot rather than made by the developer? Or is that how the game is implemented?
like when you go to a planet, you don't know what it looks like until you get there. Nobody knows, unless someone happens to run into your own planet a planet that you've already discovered. But everything is randomly generated, as in the terrain, the atmosphere, the animals on there, the reason. So, but I'm just kind of what I have. I still don't know that, but like I have a question about like what exactly, like, are you gonna? What if we do run out of randomly generated types of planets? Then
will the terrain recycle?
So it's like it's a logical question. Like, so if everything is randomly generated, how does the game, like, when you're connected online, does the game already know what has been randomly generated, so they don't duplicate that shit?
So here's my theory on that. Because I mean, Mark asked a good question. Like, if it's randomly generated, what does that mean for an online world where other people can visit other planets that have been
randomly generated? Yeah.
So my theory is, let's say you're on there day one before. Let's say you're a reviewer, for example. You get your hands on an early copy of the game, and you be like Polygon or Kotaku, and you break the review embargo, and you actually start live streaming the game, which they shouldn't have done. Those guys are dirtbags.
That shit got erased though.
I don't. Okay, good. And then they go and they name the planets. They see the planets, they see the life on there, the vegetation, and then they name the planet, right? You go on there day 2, that planet's name and terrain has been localized, and that is going to be the name of the planet and the terrain of the planet forever, right? And I think that data gets stored on that server. So if you already found a planet that's already been explored, that terrain's name, that planet's terrain, is already locked in. Whereas there's a planet that hasn't been explored yet. Cool, I'm gonna go to that, and I think the server will recognize this particular, this point on my Magic server map hasn't been explored yet. Then it just pulls from its assets, it pulls from whatever data it has to generate that planet right there. That's my theory, anyway.
Maybe I think I wouldn't know this, but it may have been explained already. But shit, I'm still trying to figure out what this game is about, man. What's up, Mark? You got any last questions before we move on?
Yeah, how's the music? Apparently the soundtrack is composed by this awesome band called 65 Days of Static.
I wanted to bring that up because I know you love post rock.
I love that band.
Mark over here is Mr. fucking Explosions in the Sky boy over here.
Explosions in the sky.
Do you want? Were you gonna add
I haven't listened to anything that they made for the game, but I'm just curious. Like, is it just straight ambient, electronic, kind of glitchy music? Is there a legit soundtrack, or does it follow the same theme of it sounds as if it were randomly generated but still cohesive?
Yeah. So the music is done by, what's it called?
65 Days of Static.
Yeah. So they're like a post-rock band similar to Explosions in the Sky, and so
not really.
Oh, really? Okay. You probably won't know more.
That's fine.
I saw post-rock and I was like, Explosions and Pelican. But so the music reacts to the action on screen. If you like get in some intense situation, the music will change, just like almost as any other game. But it flows so well. I don't know how they did it, but the music fits the theme of the game really well. So it's almost as if you don't even think like, it's a band soundtrack that's playing in here. It just fits so well, and it fits to the action too. So I think it's pretty legit. I think that's one of the highlights of the game is the music and how it feeds into the atmosphere of like planetary exploration and spacious feelings. So I think I like that. That's definitely a highlight of the game. So
cool.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Friday, he said, comes out on PC.
Yeah.
For $60.
$60 though, man. That's kind of a leap, but I mean, the thing is though, like
where they steal keys and sell them for cheap. What?
I don't want to get into that, but I mean, if that's what you do, I ain't gonna judge, man. Yeah. Shit, this fool here trying to save that money.
Yeah, G2A is tight.
G2A is semi-legit.
But not really.
Nah, not really. But, I mean, the thing is, though, is like, I want to support Hello Games just because they're like a small team, and I think Sean Murray is like a pretty cool dude. And I want to respect the effort that he put into the game. So you can have that cash, boy. All right, well, let's move on. Everyone's talking about No Man's Sky, and I don't want to fill it up with that shit. So some quick news bits too. Y'all play Quake or Unreal Tournament in your lifetime?
God, like years ago.
All right. Well, at QuakeCon, they finally revealed some shit about Quake Champions, which was revealed at E3, which is going to be the follow-up in the Quake series. And so what I've heard is that it's not going to have MOBA elements, but it's going to have like hero elements.
Like Overwatch?
Kind of what I can gather from what people are saying, and that wasn't at QuakeCon, but they're saying that characters are gonna have different stats and not necessarily abilities. I'm not sure where they are on that yet, but it's gonna be like, oh, this character can move faster but has less armor. This character has more armor but moves slower.
Okay.
Maybe some more nuance than that.
So there's a class system in Quake.
I kind of like systems like that.
Sort of. But I mean, for the Quake enthusiasts, that's gonna throw them off their game unless they're open-minded to that kind of change. But I think that if an arena shooter is gonna survive, it has to do something new.
I like that though.
Yeah.
Because some people don't always want to be, shooter in a can, where everyone plays the same person, you have the same base health, same base armor stats. I think if you want like me, to be a glass cannon, where you hit really hard but die really fast, that's going to be a different playstyle than your tank or your support guy. So while before, back in the day, which was like I'd say almost 20 years now, coming up on that, those mechanics didn't exist back then. It was just a wonder to be able to get the maps smoothly going, to get the gameplay smoothly going, and to get people on a map and to have a good time. Now that's the basis, that is the base gameplay, that is the base expectations, I think that being able to decide how you want to affect your playstyle should affect a game's longevity, I would say.
I think, Mark, you have no feelings?
I have no opinions about Quake.
I have no opinions.
No opinions on first-person shooters?
Because Overwatch does that, and not everyone plays the same way. It would be a crime in Overwatch if everyone had the same abilities and everyone played the same way. It would be a travesty because
that means you have to arrest Blizzard, put them in a jail cell if they didn't do it that way.
Yeah. Call them motherfuckers, tell them they committed a crime.
Well, they didn't.
Get their asses out of here. But all I was gonna say is that I feel like if a shooter is gonna sustain itself, especially today, it has to do something different. Like we already have Quake Live. And if you want to play straight up Quake, you'll play Quake Live. Of course, maybe you want better graphics or new shit going on, new maps. That's what the Unreal Tournament, the new one on the new Unreal Engine is doing. It's an alpha, but I feel like if that game ever gets to full release, that's what it's going to be. And I suppose Quake is trying to separate itself from that, but I don't know. It's a long ways out. When that was revealed, people were like, oh shit, they're gonna do some new shit with this Quake series that I love so much.
So they were complaining already?
People are always gonna complain about something when they change shit to a beloved series or whatever, but I imagine that's a vocal minority. I really, like, people who really want to play Quake, I don't think they expect a reboot of the same exact game. So, every Quake game has been different, if you really paid attention to it. So this one has to be different, and I suppose it's trying to capitalize on a trend as well. So, move on from that. Let's talk about hardware a little bit. Sony announced that they're going to reveal exactly what the PS4 Neo is going to be. For next month, they're going to announce it. The rumors have been going on for a while. Microsoft revealed that the Xbox Scorpio was a real ass thing at E3 a couple months back. And actually the Neo rumors came out first before someone had suspected a Scorpio Xbox. But PS4 or Sony, they're going to be talking about that. I want to ask real quick, I think this is a pretty important topic, is the changing of the console cycles. Before, we would have a new console every 5-6 years. But now I feel like consoles are going to be moving to iterations of the same thing, like upgrading your PC is, or how phones upgrade, but stay the same. They just iterate on the operating system. So how do y'all feel about this new wave of upgraded consoles that we've never experienced before if you're a console gamer?
There's going to be a crisis where the bubble is going to burst. And I don't think that Sony, Microsoft, and to a lesser extent Nintendo know what they're getting themselves into by constantly reinvesting in hardware. By the time of this recording, the Xbox One S just came out. The smaller version of the bulky Xbox One.
Which I have in sight right now. JB's got it.
It is roughly 50% of the size of a regular Xbox One. And I don't know if the technology existed at the time, but they just rebuilt the technology, made it smaller, made it cuter, made it slimmer, and then they're going to reveal what Scorpio is very, very soon.
They already did.
Or they already did, sorry.
Yeah.
And I just don't understand why they have to do that. If they're going to make their own PCs, they should just do it. Microsoft already has their own OS. It wouldn't be hard to convince NVIDIA to make the Xbox graphics card. It wouldn't be hard to convince a tower maker to make the Xbox Tower. It wouldn't be hard to contact a motherboard supplier to make the Xbox motherboard, if you understand what I'm saying. They could have their own dedicated Xbox PC that they could then upgrade every 2 or 3 years, as opposed to having, oh, you just spent $400 on your Kinect and Xbox One? Well, in 2 years, there'll be another version, but it'll be better. Spend $400 again in 2 years. And unfortunately, the consumer market is going to stop buying it. And that's my prediction. It could be completely off base, and who knows? Microsoft fanboys, you might love the Scorpio. I don't know what it is 100%.
Damn.
Maybe Mark can elaborate. And I'm not going on just a huge Microsoft rant here. Sony's doing the exact same thing, and I'm going to call Sony out right now.
Call them out.
They think the speculation is that the Neo is going to be a 4K ready machine, right? That's the speculation.
That's what it has to be.
Ready for 4K. There is a problem with that. If the listeners know anything about PC gaming, you know that to get a 4K gaming rig, you need to spend way more than just $400 to get that rig ready to go. So my complaint is, let's say Sony does make a 4K ready PlayStation 4. Is that going to cost less than $800? Because I can't imagine what they need to do to get something that is this small and compact.
Viewer listeners can see.
Sorry, I'm holding a PS4 in my hand right now just so I can get a visual. But the PS4 is pretty small and compact. To get that ready for 4K gaming, they're going to have to not only fix the body of it, but also fix the hardware, fix the graphics card, fix everything, fix the processor to get that ready. And if they can somehow manage to get the PS4 Neo to be 4K ready and under $800, that'll be a miracle. The problem then comes in, how are you going to market an $800 PS4 to the same people who just bought a PS4 maybe 2 years ago? Maybe during an Uncharted Black Friday sale and got their $400 PS4? To drop $800 on the exact same machine when 4K TV, when 4K gaming is not yet the standard. That's what I'm worried about. I think that they're going to invest all their time, all their money, and all their resources into a technology that will not bear fruit for them.
Yeah, price point is a huge thing that consumers are trying to figure out. Exactly who's is catered to, because the price point determines who it is catered to. Now, if the PS4, the Neo is obviously going to be built for 4K. That's just no doubt about that. So if it's built for 4K, it's built for people who can afford or have 4K TVs. So it's going to be for a higher end market. And if the bigger picture when you were talking about the Xbox One and Scorpio is that it's a good move, and for Microsoft specifically, because I feel like what they're doing now is saying, all right, we're going to concede that Like, console gaming is inferior to PC. Of course, Microsoft already knew that, but so remember Steam boxes? Y'all remember Steam boxes?
Yeah,
the Xbox One, to me, the Xbox One is going to turn into a successful version of what the Steam box wanted to be. So, but instead they have the Microsoft and the Xbox branding. What it's going to be, because they already announced like everything almost all the shit that's going to come out for Xbox One is going to be crossplay for PC as well. So just that alone tells me that the Xbox One will then replace what the Steam box was supposed to be. And I mean, Xbox One alone isn't going to yield anything great for Microsoft. So this is where they're fitting themselves into the gaming market, and it's perfect. I actually, when they announced it on at E3, I was like, yeah, get that shit, because that what they're basically doing is like, not everybody wants to build a PC, not everybody wants to deal with like installing an OS and all the other stuff. I mean, I want to, because that's just who I am. I'm a PC gamer. But like the kids or whoever doesn't have the time in their mind to deal with that will just buy an Xbox One and say, okay, I can play whatever I want on this. And so they're fitting themselves in that market, and it's perfect. Microsoft's doing, I think that's gonna be the best route if the Xbox brand is to survive.
Before, when you made your points, I was like, oh god, the Xbox One, whatever. Now that you bring it up, the Xbox 360 did so well because it actually had multiple iterations of the same machine. This is your basic 4 gig model. There's your 160 gig model. Here's your 320 gig model. And if you don't like it, you can always upgrade the hard drive on the Xbox 360. I think just that level of literal plug and play of the hardware does appeal to your mainstream, not care about gaming specs, not care about 60 frames per second frame rate drops gamer. The ones who just want to literally put in the disc or put on or download the digital code and just play a game. Now, I mean, guys like us, where we do want the latest and greatest, stuff every now and then, we do care about gaming PCs. We do care about hardware specs. But for kids, for older folks, kids, for families who just want a system that they can just put in front of the TV and just plug and play, I can now see the appeal of having kind of the newer, better, slimmer, faster, more optimized console. And you're right, there's a very vocal minority, I guess myself included, who rail against the idea of constantly changing the technology to charge consumers the same price that they charged them 2 years ago, a la the cell phone model.
I was seeing from Microsoft's perspective, it doesn't really cost them very much to produce another model. And if they can cash in by doing so, their business first and foremost, their priority is making money, as opposed to doing what's best or what they think is best for the consumer or whatever. And that's fine. That's just how business is. Yeah. And so if they can milk as much money off of a consumer as possible, they're going to do whatever it takes.
More power to them.
Yeah. And it's been proven to work. The Xbox 360, like you said, it's gone through multiple iterations, different versions.
Xbox Slim.
Yeah, the 360 became slim. They changed colors, and it makes people think it's a brand new thing. I feel like they're going to keep doing that, like with the latest iteration, until I do think it's going to plateau eventually, because there's going to be a lot of cross-pollination between PC gaming. Of course, this is all speculation, because with Microsoft, they want everything to be integrated within the same system. They want their Microsoft Live, their Xbox Live accounts, their Windows accounts all synced. In a sense, I feel like they might be shooting themselves in the foot, because it will make people kind of realize, they might not need a console if they can go to a store and pick up a PC that does the exact same thing for even cheaper price. The main thing that the Xbox, I think, has going for them is that it's a closed system. This may seem like a negative, but for a consumer, it keeps it simple. They just put the game in, and they don't have to navigate a million windows. It's just press A to play the game, and it starts up. So I'm not too sure where they're gonna go with the Xbox in the future. I think I recall they lose money with each sale, but it puts Microsoft's OS they cast a wider net, and they can make money off the back end by having people dependent on that system.
I think the Xbox 10 years from now, say, is going to be the same system that the Xbox One is now, but just several iterations, just like phones are. Consoles are going to become like that. That's how I see it. There's no way that, especially when we're already moving to this business model of selling an upgraded version of your console, you can't go back to the times when it was like a very distinct, this is the new console. At some point they're just going to be like, all right, screw it, it's just Xbox, and this is the new updated Xbox, in 2024 or whatever. And I think that that's just the best way to do it. I mean, PC games have always done it too. I mean, they're just going to move. I mean, you just get new hardware, and that's, I think, that what Xbox, and I think Sony's going to do the same thing too. It's because, you know what I'm saying? Any other thoughts?
No, that was good.
Okay.